Here is the one thing most fitness advice gets completely wrong about aging. If you are over 50 and your glutes are flattening even though you stay active, the problem is not your age. And it is definitely not a lack of squats. It is your pelvis. Today, I am showing you 3 movements that fix the root cause of glute loss after 50. No gym, no equipment, just the right movements, in the right order. Stay with me through the 3rd exercise because that is the missing key to filling in those hollow, flat sides of the hips that standard gym workouts simply cannot reach. Let me show you something before we get into the exercises. Stand up for a moment and place your thumbs on the bony peaks of your hips while looking in a mirror. Is one thumb sitting higher than the other? Does one side of your hip look flatter or more hollow? If so, your pelvis is already out of balance, and that imbalance is quietly muting your glutes every single time you train. Your brain has literally lost the signal to those muscles. Here is why that matters. Your pelvis is the structural foundation of your entire lower body. When it is correctly balanced, your glutes, particularly the gluteus medius, the muscle responsible for the rounded, full shape on the sides of your hips, can fire effectively and respond to training. But after 50, years of sitting and reduced movement cause the pelvis to tilt or rotate. Often very subtly. You will not feel it happening. There is no dramatic pain signal. What happens instead is that the brain-to-muscle connection gets disrupted. Other muscles, your lower back, your hip flexors, your quads, step in to compensate. Your glutes stop being recruited properly, and over time, they weaken, flatten, and disconnect from movement entirely. This is why you can do squats, bridges, and daily walks, and still see almost no change in shape. The muscle is not broken, it's simply not receiving the signal it needs. And here's the part most people miss. It's not that squats don't work, it's that for many people over 50, they stop targeting the muscles that matter most. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy confirmed this directly. Individuals with pelvic tilt or asymmetry showed significantly reduced glute activation even while performing standard glute exercises. The fix, therefore, cannot start with more reps. It has to start with restoring pelvic balance and rebuilding the connection that tells your glutes to fire. That is exactly what these 3 exercises are designed to do. Exercise 1. Wall hinge with lateral shift. Stand about 6 to 8 inches in front of a wall, facing away from it. Feet shoulder-width apart. Toes turned very slightly inward to open the back of the hips. Knees soft. Hands resting gently on your hips. Hinge at the hips and push back until your glutes lightly tap the wall. Your torso leans slightly forward. Keep your spine long and straight throughout. From here, shift your hips to the left. No momentum. No rushing. Feel your right glute begin to engage. Return to center. Shift to the right. Feel the left side activate. Return to center. Then stand back up. That is 1 rep. 8 to 10 repetitions with full control on every shift. 2 sets total. If balance is a concern, rest your fingertips lightly on a chair in front of you. Common mistake to avoid. This is a hip rock, not a torso twist. If your nose is moving side to side, you are missing the target entirely. Keep your upper body completely still and let the pelvis do the work. That distinction is everything. Right feel. A subtle but clear engagement on the outer side of whichever hip you are shifting away from. Not your lower back, not your thighs, the outer hip. If you feel it there, you are doing it correctly. This is not a strength exercise. It is a retraining drill. Its entire purpose is to restore pelvic balance and reactivate the brain-to-muscle signal before asking your glutes to carry any real load. Think of it as rebooting the connection before loading the system. A 2021 study in Physical Therapy and Sport found that low-load pelvic repositioning drills improved gluteal symmetry and muscle recruitment in older adults in as little as 2 weeks. Small movement, significant impact. Now that the signal is back on, let us add the strength. Exercise 2. Wall-facing squat with calf raise. Stand facing a wall, about 6 to 8 inches away. Feet slightly wider than hip width, toes angled out 10 to 15 degrees. Both hands resting lightly on the wall at shoulder height. Lower into a squat with control. Chest tall, knees tracking over your toes. Aim for a 45 to 60 degree angle at the thigh. Do not force the depth. At the bottom, rise onto your toes with deliberate, unhurried control. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds at the top of the calf raise. Lower the heels back down. Then press through your feet and return to standing. 10 to 12 reps. 2 to 3 sets. Keep your knees gently pressing outward throughout. That is what keeps the gluteus medius engaged and working. Common mistake to avoid: letting your face or knees make contact with the wall. If that happens, you are too close or you are collapsing forward. Step back slightly and focus on keeping the chest tall. Right feel. The primary effort should be felt in the back of the hips and outer glutes, not in the knees and not in the lower back. If you are feeling it in the knees, your weight is too far forward. Here is something most people do not realize. When you squat without a wall, your body instinctively leans forward to counterbalance its own weight. That forward shift transfers the load directly onto your knees. It happens automatically, and most people never notice it is happening. The wall acts as a physical boundary that prevents that forward collapse, forcing the load onto your glutes instead of letting your knees steal the work. That one change makes this movement fundamentally more effective for glute development than a standard bodyweight squat. The calf raise at the bottom adds a stability challenge most squat variations ignore entirely. A 2022 study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that integrated lower body movements with a balance component improved both muscle tone and fall resilience in adults over 60, even without added weight. Now that we have built the strength foundation, it is time to target the specific muscle responsible for the shape most people are actually missing. Exercise 3. Standing hip abduction with pelvic control. Stand beside a wall or sturdy chair, one hand resting lightly on it for support. Feet hip-width apart. Stand tall with no leaning to either side. Before you lift, gently draw your lower abdomen in. Not a forceful brace. Just a light, deliberate engagement to anchor your pelvis in place. Lift your outer leg slowly to the side. Foot flexed or neutral. Raise only to hip height, or wherever you can go without your torso shifting. Pause for 1 second at the top. Then lower with complete, unhurried control. The descent carries just as much value as the lift. 10 to 12 reps per side. 2 to 3 sets. Common mistake to avoid: prioritizing height over quality. If your torso is tilting to the side as you lift, your lower back has already taken over. Lower the leg, reset your posture, and regain control before continuing. Quality of range of motion matters far more than how high the leg goes. Right feel: a clear, focused effort in the outer hip. Not the lower back, not the hip flexor. If you feel it in the side of your hip, and it begins to fatigue around rep 8 or 9, the right muscle is working. Most glute exercises load the gluteus maximus well, but they almost entirely neglect the gluteus medius, the muscle on the outer hip that is the primary driver of the rounded, three-dimensional shape on the sides of the hips. That is the hollow. That is the hip dip. And compound movements, no matter how consistently performed, do not reach it directly. This movement does. It isolates the medius precisely while training pelvic stability at the same time. Two things that must happen together for real, shape to return to the right place. A 2020 paper in the Journal of Human Kinetics found that standing hip abduction produced significantly higher gluteus medius activation than compound movements, making it a critical and widely overlooked part of any glute program for adults over 50. These three movements work as a system, and the sequence is intentional. The first restores pelvic balance and rebuilds the brain-to-muscle signal. The second builds functional glute strength with the body properly aligned. The third targets the specific muscle most responsible for shape, the one most training programs leave behind entirely. 2 to 3 sessions per week, done consistently, and you are not just training your glutes. You are building structural integrity for the next 2 decades. Most people notice the change in how they move before they see it in the mirror, in how stable they feel walking, standing up from a chair, or stepping off a curb. Pay attention to that. It means the system is working. If this gave you clarity on something you have been frustrated with for a while, share it with someone who is dealing with the same thing, and leave a comment below. I would genuinely like to know where you are starting from and what has been holding you back. We are not just building muscle here. We are building the foundation to move freely, stay stable, and trust your body again for years to come. That is worth getting right.